This week we're going to highlight soybean planting progress here in the U.S. as well as short-term weather trends. Then we're going to turn our focus to Brazil, where harvest is wrapping up with some interesting weather trends potentially developing there. And we're going to wrap things up this week looking at long-term trends in November soybean futures. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. We've moved in the middle of April here, and that means for a lot of folks it's time to plant beans. Let's take a look at the last 30 days of precip across the country. This slide's courtesy of T-storm weather here. We're looking at a divergent weather pattern. Notice how dry it is in parts of northern Missouri, parts of southeast Nebraska, as well as Kansas. In contrast, look at east of the Mississippi River, very wet in parts of southern Wisconsin, over in northern Illinois, and particularly across Indiana and parts of Ohio. Now let's take a look at soybean planting progress here nationwide at 3% compared to 1% on average. Again, you can see there that Missouri, for example, 8% done versus 1% on average. We're looking at the eastern corn belt. Very few beans have been planted. Now let's look at the history of bean planting here. Again, 3% done as of April 14th. Now we're going to highlight here over the next 2 weeks from April 14th to the 28th. Another 9% of the beans are usually planted, which would bring us to the end of the month looking at about that 10% level. So again, that's going to be highly contingent on weather the next 2 weeks. Speaking of weather, let's take a look at the short-term forecast. Our slides this week, as usual, are courtesy of T-storm weather. We're looking here through Wednesday of this week, April 17th. There is some moisture, particularly across parts of eastern South Dakota, a lot of rain across Iowa, Minnesota, parts of western Wisconsin. Even as you move further east, all that green area may see some moisture. Now we're going to fast forward to next week, April 25th to the 28th. Perhaps another major system moving through the heaviest amounts or best chance for substantial totals be across that pink area. But all areas may get some rain. So let's look at the next 14 days in total. You can see across that whole area here, really no below normal precip is forecast. A fair amount of light green there means above normal, and some yellow, which means normal. Point being is that there's very few areas that are going to miss rain. So it may be stop and go with planting over the next 2 weeks. Let's shift our focus now to South America, specifically focusing on Brazil, where they're wrapping up the soybean harvest. Let's take a look at where those beans are produced in Brazil. Now, we've highlighted two key areas here. Most of those other areas have finished harvesting beans. In the far south, Rio Grande do Sul, about 14% of the beans are produced in that far southern state. They're about 30% harvested. The other area I want to highlight is Mato Piba. It comprises Maranhão, Tocantins, Piauí, and Bahia. That's also about 14% of the crop. Looking at this slide, harvest progress here, we're looking at Rio Grande do Sul, about 35 to 40% done with harvest, where most of those states that comprise Mato Piba, about 75 to 80%, Maranhão a little bit further behind. Let's now take a look at the last 48 hours. Why is this important? It's been dry up in Mato Piba, which is favorite harvest, but look how wet it's been in Rio Grande do Sul. This is something to keep an eye on. Again, only 30 to 40% of the beans have been harvested, so this could be important over the next 2 weeks here if they continue to receive rain. Well, what do the next 2 weeks look like? They look like they're still going to remain fairly wet in Rio Grande do Sul and a little bit above normal in Mato Piba, but point being, let's keep an eye on Rio Grande do Sul because again, those beans are not harvested yet, and excess rain could cause some quality issues. Let's wrap things up this week looking at trends in November soybean futures. The November beans, as we tape here on Tuesday, trading near $11.60 a bushel. That's trending lower here. We want to strongly encourage you to continue to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to manage price movement. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with our risk management consultants who'll be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an upload. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.